This is the beginning of unit number 2. In this unit now, we are going to begin with explaining and discussing the tenses. Particularly, we will discuss the simple present tense, number 2, the present continuous, number 3, adverbs of frequency. Let's begin now with number 1, which is the simple present tense. Now, when we talk about the simple present tense, we talk about its form. The form of the present simple tense is the verb in the first declension. No. And we mean by this, it's like a play, a played, a played. Now the first one, the first part, which is a play, speak, spoke, spoken. Number 1, which is speak. Now this form of the verb either can be like this, speak, or maybe speaks. This depends on one thing, which is the subject. Now, if the subject is he, or she, or it, now we use is with the verb. But if the subject is something else, now we talk about I, we talk about we talk about they, now we talk about you. Now all of these now take speak. I say I speak, we speak, they speak, you speak. We say he speaks, she speaks, it sounds, and so on. This is about the form. Now, when do we use the subjective, the present simple tense? We use it in different situations. Number 1, when we talk about a habit. And we mean by a habit something that occurs again and again and again. For example, we say, I usually travel by bus. Now this sentence means that yesterday and before that and before that and maybe today and tomorrow and after that, now it was a habit that frequently happens, occurs again and again, that I travel by bus. Another example. He smokes heavily in the morning. Now, this means that his habit is to smoke very heavily in the morning. He smokes 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 times every day in the morning. Well, this is his habit. Unlike in other times of the day, maybe he smokes less and less. Number 2. We use the simple present tense when we talk about a fact that always happens. A fact that always happens. For example, we say this: the sun rises in the east. Another example, gravity pulls objects down. Gravity pulls objects down. Now, look here now. The sun rises in the east. This is a fact about the sun. It is a scientific fact that the sun rises every day in the east. It is also a scientific fact that gravity pulls objects down to ground. Now, therefore, now we use the simple present. Now, in these facts, we use the simple present. Therefore, now, because the sun is it, it is a singular subject, we use with it is. So we say rises. Because the gravity is also it, which is a singular subject, now we say bulls, rises. Okay. Now we say, for example, they always change their minds. They always change their minds. Look here now, the subject is they. It is not singular. Therefore now, the verb in the present simple tense is without an s. Without an s. Now, number 3, we talk about a fact, but not all the time it happens. It happens over a long period of time. A fact that it happens over a long period of time. For example, students, or let's give another example. The university starts in October. So it is a fact that the university starts in October, but maybe it is this a fact that nearly happens all the time, but possibly, for example, in circumstances like we are living now with Corona, for example, the university might start maybe in September or before, or maybe in January, depending on the health situation in the Gaza Strip. Therefore, now this is now the simple present. Again, now the form of the simple present is the verb in the first declension. We say play, speak, eat, drink, swim, and etc. Number 1. Now this form also in the simple present, now either the main verb takes an s or it doesn't take an s, depending on the subject. If the subject is in the third person singular, he, she, it takes an s at the end. If it is without, it doesn't take an s. The simple present expresses, number 1, a habit that happens all the time, because now you know that a person gets accustomed to certain habits, to certain behaviors in almost most of his time. Number 2, it's a fact that always happens. We live our lives now, and it seems that it happens and occurs again and again. Number 3, a fact that happens most of the time or on a long period of time. And in this case now, we give examples of habits that occur again and again, habits occur again and again, like our example, the university starts in October, but possibly it might not, for special circumstances, it might not open in October. Okay, this is about the form and the uses of the present simple tense. Now, the present simple tense now, if you want to negate it, to make it negative, you see that these verbs, these full verbs or main verbs like rises, balls, starts, you see now they have s at the end. Therefore, this is now, we remove it and we take from it does and we put not to does. For example, number 1, I usually travel by bus. I there is no S, so I say I do not travel by bus. Or I usually do not travel by bus. Now, this is now because it doesn't have. In the second example, he smokes heavily in the morning. He does not smoke. Don't say does not smokes. He does not smoke heavily in the afternoon or in the noon. Number 3, the sun rises in the east. We say the sun does not rise in the west. Except, now because this is a habit which happens all the time, like possibly maybe in the at the end of our lives, now the sun might rise from the west. Okay, this is about making them negative. If you want to make them questions, if you want to make these sentences questions, because you know that questions and negatives are transformations of sentences. Now we say, the sun rises in the east. Now we take does, which we took for the negative, and we put it at the beginning. Does, then you complete the sentence as it is. Does the sun rise in the east? Question mark. All we did is that we took from rise either do or does. Now, when we do this now, if there is S, we put does. If there is no S, we put do. Because the second, gravity pulls objects down. See, does gravity pull objects down? This is a question. Now, without does, you see, the sentence is the same. Nothing. We take does from it and we put at the beginning. All the other parts of the sentence remain in their place and in their position. Now, how about making them passive? How about making the simple present sentences in the passive? Now, we say gravity pulls objects down. Now, we take objects and we put it at the beginning. Objects, we put it at the beginning. Then, is there a helping verb or an auxiliary? There is no auxiliary. Now, therefore, now, if there is no auxiliary, we have to bring one of verb to be. Now, the sentence is present, we bring it in the present. Now, objects now. We have either we put am, or is, or are. Depending on what? Depending on this new subject, which is the object. Now, we find that objects now is a plural, therefore we take are. So we say objects are. Now, the full verb is pull. Now, you put it in the past participle. So pull, you put ed. So we say objects are pulled down by gravity. Objects are pulled down by gravity. Now, the second sentence, they always change their minds. Now, we put the object, which is their mind, their minds. We do not have any auxiliary. Therefore, we bring either am or is and are. Their minds in the plural, we take are. Their minds are, it changed. We put the full verb with ed, the past participle. Their minds are changed. They always change. Yes. Their minds are always changed. That's all. Therefore, now we talk about the present simple tense. Now, and when we talked about it, we talked about its form, its uses, and then we gave examples on how to use the present simple tense. Then we made from simple sentences, simple present sentences, questions. We made them negative, and then we changed them into passive voice. Now we can move to the second tense, which is the present continuous. How do we form the present continuous? Now, the present continuous is formed of am, is, or are, which are verbs to be in the present, plus verb ing. Example, am speaking. We say, now I am speaking English. Now I am discussing this class. Now you are listening to me. Now, then I am, you are listening, she is listening to me. Therefore, now this is the form. We use verb to be, one of them in the present, either am or is or are. Then we put the verb in the ing. We take the infinitive without to, in speak, play, listen, celebrate, and so on, and we put ing for it. This is about the form. Now, how about the uses of the present continuous? The present continuous, number one, expresses an action that occurs or happens at the moment of speaking. Now, what do we mean by the moment of speaking? Now, this is the line. This is the line of time. Now this is now. The moment now I am discussing this lesson is called now. Everything before now is called past. Everything after now is called the future. Again, this is the moment now, the moment I am standing before you and discussing the tenses, discussing unit number 2. This is the moment now. Before it, even by 1 or 2 minutes, it is past. After now, with 1 minute, is considered the future. This moment is now. Now, what is happening at the moment now? What is happening at the moment now is that your teacher is discussing the present continuous tense. Another example, that you are now listening to me. Number 3, that the photographer is recording a movie of my discussion. You see, now. Therefore now it expresses an action that is going on, that is in progress, that is continuous at the moment of speaking. Another example, we say now, the banks are giving salaries now. Therefore, if you go to the bank now you can take your salary. Now, another example, another use of the present continuous, we can talk about an action that not occurs at this moment, but it occurs at the moment around now. Around now. What do you mean by around now? We say we are giving a summer course this month. We are giving a summer course this month. This does not mean that in every moment of now, in this month, we are giving a summer course. But we are giving a summer course today and tomorrow and after that and on Saturday and on Sunday and so on. And within this period which is around now. Now we are giving a summer course. Then, now, it expresses an action that occurs at the moment of speaking or around the moment of speaking. Number 3. It expresses a temporary action. Now, what do we mean by temporary? Now, you know that actions are either permanent or temporary. When we say they are permanent, it means they happen over a very long period of time. When they are temporary, now we talk about a very short period of time. Example, I say now, now I am teaching. Now I am teaching. Does the sentence mean that I will teach English for 7 days in sequence? No, it means now I am teaching it temporary, now, at this moment, that's all. Now, what is the verb which is permanent? The verb which is permanent, that happens over a very long period of time, is teaches. We say the teacher teaches English. It means I teach today, tomorrow, and after that. Now, this is permanent. But when I say temporary, it means it occurs at this moment, for a very short period of time. So this is temporary. Now, we say, for example, farmers are uprooting a grass in summer. Which means now in this very temporary period of time, they are uprooting a grass. Therefore now this is the third use of the present continuous. A fourth use of the present continuous is something which is very amazing, which is called a planned actions in the future. So when we say future, it means after now. On the line of time, it means after now. But when we talk about continuous, present continuous, we are talking about now, or around now, or a temporary action around now. But this now is in the future. For example, we say, for example, tomorrow there is a party. So I say, I am attending the party tomorrow evening. Tomorrow evening. Look here now, we are not talking about now. We are talking about tomorrow. And tomorrow evening, which is about 30 hours from now, after now. So this is the future. Well, at the same time, there is a planning for this. There is scheduling for this. I am scheduling my time to attend the party tomorrow in the evening. Therefore now, if the action is planned for, or scheduled, or timetabled in the future, you can use the present continuous or the present progressive. We say, I am attending the party tomorrow evening. We say, she is having her new baby in September. We say, we are taking the exams, the midterm exams, on August 8th. We are taking the summer exam on August 8th. So all of these times are scheduled in the future. Now, can we use these present tenses? Can we use these present tenses, present continuous tenses, in the negative? Yes. Now, when you say, I am attending the party tomorrow evening, you put after the auxiliary am, you put not. I am not attending the party tomorrow evening. Now we say she is having, according to a schedule in the future, she is having her new baby in October, for example. We want to make it negative. Is there an auxiliary? Yes, there is. Therefore, you put not after it. وطبعا all the time of the present continuous, you will find an auxiliary verb of group to be. Either is, or am, or are. Therefore, if you want to make a negative, then you put not after it. She is not having her new baby in September. ليش? Because she is having it in October. Now, so you can make it negative. طب can you make a question? Well, this is very easy. Now, all you do is that you take the auxiliary, is, and you front it at the beginning. So the sentence becomes, is she having her baby in October? Is she having her new baby in October? And and because the speaker is I, and when you make question, you are addressing the person. So I, it changes to you. Am becomes are. We say, are you attending the party tomorrow evening? Are you attending the party tomorrow evening? You make by this a question. Now, if you want to make WH question, then you are to ask about the party, the same thing. You put now, instead of the party, what? And you put what before the auxiliary. So, what are you attending tomorrow evening? What is she having in September? What is she having in September? She is having her new baby in September. Can you make it passive? Yes. Now you bring a new baby here. A new baby. Now you take verb to be is, you put after it be, and you take the ing from have, becomes being. You take the past participle of the full verb is being had in October. Her new baby is being had in October. If you want to change, طبعا this is for special meaning only. You had to change had into born. It's much better. Like it is not a requirement of the rule. The rule does not necessitate or demand from you to change had into born, because the meaning of have is the meaning of bear in this time. Now, here a new baby is being born in October. The party is being attended. The party is being attended tomorrow evening. Now, this is about the present continuous tense. And we have four different cases for using the present continuous. We talk about the moment now. Number 2, around now. Number 3, we talk about temporary actions. And number 4, we talk about scheduled events in the future. Now I will discuss the third point, which is adverbs of frequency. Now, what do we mean by frequency? Now, frequency comes from the word frequent. So I say, I frequently ask questions. You frequently come to the university. Now, so the word frequency means frequently. What are the adverbs which are used to mean frequency? To show repetition again and again. You can use, for the negative, you can use never. In sentences such as, I never eat ملوخية. I never eat ملوخية, which means that this is a case which you do not do at all. It does not happen for you at all. Now, or you say, I rarely eat ملوخية, which means now, rarely, in very, very little situations in very seldom cases, in very rare situation, you eat ملوخية. Or you say, I do not often eat ملوخية. Which means, yeah, it is the case that you don't eat ملوخية, but it happens for some times that you may have it for one or twice, 2 times in your life, in the year. Or you say, for example, I often like banana. I often like banana. Now we are moving now from the negative usages of never and rarely and not often into what? Into the affirmative. Into the affirmative. Yani positively now, you are talking positively about liking banana. And you say, I often like banana. Another sentence, you say, I sometimes like banana. You sometimes like banana. Like it doesn't happen for a very long time of your times that you like banana. Sometimes you eat it, or sometimes you do not eat it. Another one, you see, I always like or eat banana in the morning. That it's now you always like banana. Now, and there is another case which I usually like or have banana. Look here now. These are the adverbs of frequency. Never, rarely, don't often, sometimes, usually, and then always. Now, we can express how to use them on a line of frequency, on a line of occurrence. In the middle of the line of the occurrence, then we have a percentage of 50%. 50% you do something, or 50% you do not do it. Now, on this 50%, you put often. Often. Now, after that, you put sometimes. So sometimes gives repetition of the action more than often. After sometimes, you use usually. And the strongest is always. Now, when you say always, it means all the time. Now, if you want to give them percentage, now you give often 50, you give sometimes 60, you give usually 80, and you give always 90 to 100. 90% to 100%. Now, this is in your positive explanation of frequency. Like, if you want to talk about the negative, now we go back. Now, zero, which does not happen at all, you say never. Now, you say, I have never been to Scotland, which means not even one time in your life that you went there. And then you use rarely. After that, you use hardly. Hardly. After that, you use don't often. And these are frequency adverbs in the negative, or these are frequency adverbs in the positive. Now, if you have a verb to be in the sentence, like for example, I am teaching in English, you put these adverbs of frequency after verb to be. I am always teaching in English. If you do not have verb to be, like I never eat, you put the adverb of frequency before the full verb or the main verb. So you say, I usually like tea. I always answer students' questions. Always is before answer. Always is before answer. Now, like if you have any other auxiliary now, you put it after it. I have always told the truth. After the have, I have always told the truth. Now, I have often spoken ironically. I have often spoken ironically. Now, you put often before the main verb and after the auxiliary. That's about adverbs of frequency. Now, these adverbs are usually used in the present simple tense or sometimes in the present continuous. Or by this, we can say that we have finished today's class and we have already talked about two tenses, which are the simple present tense and the present continuous, and we discussed the adverbs of frequency, giving some explanation for making the passive voice and for making equations and negatives. Thank you for listening and see you in the coming class.